stop what you're doing. Because reports suggest a major turn just hit Donald Trump's legal fight. And it could change everything fast. In big criminal cases. The defense does not just show up and hope for the best. A serious defense team usually builds a plan around one central piece. Their strongest witness. The person they think can tell the story that protects the client. The person who can look a jury in the eye and say, "This was not what it looks like," or "He didn't know," or "I acted alone." When that key witness is solid, the whole defense has a backbone. But when that witness suddenly switches sides, when they stop helping the defense and start helping prosecutors, the entire strategy can collapse overnight. And tonight, multiple reports indicate that is exactly the kind of nightmare scenario Trump's team may be facing right now. According to sources described as having direct knowledge of the situation, a witness who was once viewed as central to Trump's defense strategy has now agreed to cooperate with prosecutors. Not partial cooperation, not vague answers. Full cooperation, meaning testimony, documents, and even recordings, according to what's being reported. Now let's be careful here. The public does not have every detail confirmed in court. But the direction of these reports is clear. And the implications are huge. Why this is different from the usual Trump headlines. People have seen legal drama around Trump for years. So it's easy for viewers to hear another headline and think, "So okay, what else is new?" But analysts believe this moment is different for one simple reason. The reported witness is not described as some distant outsider. Sources suggest this person had close access, meetings, records, conversations, and the kind of inside view prosecutors rarely get in cases like this. And if prosecutors truly have an insider who can explain the how and the why, that changes everything. The key moments: a surprise search and what investigators say they found. Here's the timeline as described in these reports. Sources indicate that Trump's side was still showing confidence very recently, acting like their plan was steady, and their witness was dependable. Then, according to reporting, prosecutors executed a search warrant tied to the witness. And what allegedly turned up is what pushed this into a whole new phase. Reports suggest investigators uncovered financial information tied to large payments that were not previously known publicly, communications that prosecutors believe help explain what happened behind the scenes, and most importantly, audio recordings. The number being reported is shocking: 17 recordings. Now, if you followed criminal cases before, you know why that matters. A recording is not like a rumor. It's not a he said, she said. If a recording is real, clear, and allowed into evidence, it can become one of the hardest things for a defense team to explain away. And sources claim these recordings include conversations involving Trump himself. Though we should stress the public has not heard them. And we only have descriptions from people said to be familiar with them. The immunity deal, why it raises the pressure even more. Another detail being widely discussed. Sources suggest the witness may have received an immunity deal. That matters because an immunity agreement is not just a get-out-of-jail-free card. It usually comes with strict rules. If a cooperating witness lies, holds back, or changes their story, they can lose the deal and face new trouble. Plus serious punishment for perjury. So if this kind of agreement is real, it creates a powerful reason for the witness to tell prosecutors everything they know, even the parts that may be embarrassing, damaging, or personally risky. What prosecutors are said to have now. Reports claim prosecutors have already received a large amount of cooperation, including many hours of testimony, thousands of pages of records, and those 17 recordings that are being described as devastating. Legal analysts often say audio can be case-shaping evidence because it can cut through confusion. If jurors hear a voice on tape giving instructions, discussing money, or talking about concealment, it can carry a different weight than paperwork alone. But again, we need to be clear: until recordings are verified, played in court, and ruled admissible, there is uncertainty about what they truly show. Inside Trump's team. Reports of panic, anger, and emergency meetings. Sources close to the situation describe a legal operation suddenly under intense stress. Emergency meetings, arguments over who trusted the witness, and scrambling for a new plan. Some reports even suggest certain lawyers may consider stepping away, which, if true, would signal a serious breakdown in confidence behind the scenes. Because when your entire defense strategy is built around one person saying, Trump didn't direct this, and that same person now plans to say the opposite, it doesn't just hurt your case. It flips your case upside down. The strategic disaster. The defense plan may now belong to the prosecution. Here's the part many people miss. If a key witness was once aligned with the defense, they may know what the defense planned to argue. They may know the expected narrative, the talking points, the pressure points, the weak spots. And if that person is now sitting with prosecutors, it's like handing the other side a map of your whole strategy. Former prosecutors often compare it to playing cards while the other player can see your hand. Reports suggest the investigation could expand fast. Another major piece. Sources indicate this cooperation may not only cover the charges already known publicly. Some reporting suggests prosecutors are learning about possible additional conduct, new money trails, possible efforts to hide evidence, and other issues that could widen the scope. And if one insider fully cooperates, it can start a chain reaction. Other people who stayed quiet may suddenly reconsider, especially if they believe prosecutors now have real leverage and real proof. This is what some legal experts call a domino effect. One cooperator leads to another, and another, until the case grows far beyond where it started. Security concerns and rising political shockwaves. There are also reports of increased protection around the witness, steps that are not typical in many white-collar cases. If true, that suggests authorities may be taking safety threats seriously. At the same time, political leaders who once spoke loudly are, according to observers, choosing their words more carefully now, watching to see what prosecutors actually file, what judges allow, and what evidence becomes public. Because there's a big difference between a political argument on TV and a courtroom where evidence is played out piece by piece. What we know, what we don't, and what happens next. So here's where things stand based on current reporting. We have reports suggesting a key insider is cooperating. We have claims of heavy document production. We have claims of 17 recordings. And we have signs, according to sources, that Trump's legal team is being forced into emergency mode. But we do not yet have the full recordings publicly. We do not know how much will be allowed at trial. We do not know what additional charges may or may not be coming. And we do not know how jurors would react if they hear this evidence in court. Still, analysts believe this is one of those turning points that can change the entire direction of a case, especially if prosecutors truly have an insider who can connect the money, the messages, and the intent. And now the biggest question is this. If this witness really has 17 recordings, and if more insiders are now thinking about cooperating, what is the next piece of evidence that could surface? And who could it put in the spotlight next? This analysis is based on public reports and available information.